Hey, everybody. Let me double check, make sure that I am alive. Let me check on my phone. If you are seeing me, if you can see me, say hi. Tell me where you're joining from. Let me check. Hopefully, it's working. Yes, I am live. Awesome. All right, let me turn this off. I hope you're all doing well. Hey, Dee. Good to see you. All right. As you're joining, say hi. Today we're going to talk about some of the comforts that we we recognize that we will probably miss. The comforts here in the West, in the US, Canada, UK, wherever you're joining from, that we might be taking for granted, but we recognize that we might not have those comforts once we move to the motherland. And I'm trying not to make a lot of generalizations and look at Africa as one place, right? Because there are differences depending on where you're going. And so I wanted to have a conversation about what are those things that you would miss or that you miss if you've moved already. So, what are the things that you miss from the US, from the West, now that you are in living in Africa? Okay. And I have a list here. It's a long list of things that I think I'm going to miss. However, I am willing, we are willing to let go of because, as I always say, there are trade offs. There are good things and there are bad things in any country, anywhere you go, there are good things and bad things. And at the point when you reach the point where the bad things outweigh the good things, that's when you're like, okay, it's time to go. So that's why there are a lot of great things here in the US, right? But at some point, the bad things in the US are kind of outweighing the good things, right? So that's why we're like, okay, it's time to go. And so we recognize that there are things that might not be perfect where we're going, whether it's Cameroon or Cote d'Ivoire. However, we right now feel that the good things outweigh the bad things. All right. So let's have a conversation about the things that, the comforts that we think we're going to miss and that we're willing to let go. And other people might say, oh, you're crazy for that. But, to each its own. Okay. All right. D saying, would I miss hot water? Oh my goodness. You guys, if you haven't watched HNDs abroad, their YouTube channel is really, really, really good. I would absolutely recommend you watch their YouTube channel, mostly if you are moving with your spouse. Okay. Even with kids, that's fine. But they have a lot of great information on their channel about, how to navigate that whole process with a spouse. And yesterday, yeah, it was yesterday, they had some guests and they were talking about, their guests moved to Ecuador. And one of the comforts that they had to let go of was hot water. I know, I don't know about that. Hot water is a hard one for me. It's a very hard one. Yeah, it's a very hard one for me. My husband would be like, no big deal, right? But for me personally, I need my hot water. And that's the thing too. I feel like for a lot of these comfort that we will miss, there's a way to work it out. For example, hot water. I didn't grow up with hot water coming out of the tap. So there was cold water coming out of the tap. But what we would do is that we would put it in a bucket and then warm it up. And then you would shower with hot water, right? But I've never showered without hot water. So there's a way to work it out. um, King side bed. Ooh, that's a good one. I have to add that to my list because you're so right about that because the bed size could be different. I didn't even think about it. That's a good one. And Even when you think about beds, you also think about quality of sheets. When I went to Cote d'Ivoire last year, a friend of mine asked me to bring her some sheets, king size, king king size sheets, because they didn't have, um, I guess, good ones there. So that's a good one. I'm gonna write this down. Hot water, adding to my long list. Hot water and king size beds. One thing that we do in Morocco is that we don't necessarily have the king size beds, but we put two twin beds, I guess, together, and that makes one big king size bed. So there's a way to work through that process. Okay. All right. So the first one that I have on my list, big, a big one, is the 24-hour store. So the Walmart that you can go in at 3 a.m. and buy food, buy a TV, buy socks, buy bread at any time of the day, buy medication. Well, although the pharmacies are open 24 hours too, I think. No, maybe not all of them. Are CVS open at 24 hours? I don't know. I'm not sure, but Walmart is. Some Walmarts are, right? So the convenience of having a 24-hour store where you can get pretty much anything you want. The HEB is not open 24 hours. The Kroger is not open 24 hours, but Walmart is open 24 hours. Like there are some Walmarts that are open 24 hours. And so if you work late and you come back home from work at, let's say, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., well, guess what? You can stop by Walmart and get you some ice cream, whatever you need. All right. Walgreens. Oh, Walgreens and some CVS are open 24 hours. There you go. I like Walgreens. They're a little more chic than CVS in some cases. But yeah, having that convenience of, I can go into the store and get pretty much anything I want. If I want a shirt, I can get a shirt. Like you're running late for a party, you can get flowers. You can get on a Sunday, you can get flowers on the Sunday. You can get wine, depending on where you live, on the Sunday or late at night. So this is very, very convenient. And that's something that is like, you know what? I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss the convenience of just walking into a Walmart and being able to get basically anything I need, from paint to toys for my kids to makeup, soap, food. I don't buy food from Walmart, but you get the point, right? Anything that you want, anything that you need. So that's a major comfort that I'm going to miss. Talking about stores as well. Self checkout. One thing about Walmart that is sometimes annoying is, I mean, the Walmart next to us, they I think everything's now is self checkout, and it's very annoying because I don't want to go to Walmart and have to do the work. I want, I go there, I have to get the items, and now I have to do a self checkout. It's a little annoying. But there's a lot of convenience by having a self checkout, because if you're just going for one or two items, self checkout is awesome. Okay, so that is something that I'm going to miss, because I didn't see self checkouts when to the stores I went to in Abidjan. I didn't see self checkout option. I just saw the usual one, regular one with the cashier. Okay, so that's something that I'm going to miss, but I'm willing to let go of. Another one that is a little harder. Oh, Amazon Prime. I mean, Amazon Prime, 2 day tops, sometimes the same day. It's extremely convenient. It is so convenient. I don't remember life before Amazon Prime. It's like those were long, like that was like middle age. It feels like it, right? But Amazon Prime, it's so convenient. Again, you can buy anything on Prime. My husband likes to buy random stuff, like the basic stuff, like light bulbs, pens, things that I could actually walk into the store to buy, like batteries. I don't mind going into the store, but he's like, no, they sell it on Prime. I'll get it from Prime. So things like that is so convenient. And there's no Amazon Prime in Abidjan. There are other things that you can have delivered to you, but through Amazon, it's not a 2 day thing. You'll have to wait, I think, a week to get your items. So it's it's not it's something that I'm willing to let go. I'm willing to let go. So how will I um how do you work through that process? If it's something really urgent, one thing you can do is that you can order still through Amazon Prime to, like, maybe to France or the US, and then if somebody's traveling to your destination, then they can bring it to you. But again, what are the chances that somebody would be traveling at the same time that you need that item? So it's not very convenient. Or you just have to find another item. You'll just have to find something locally that could still do the work. All right. So not using Amazon Prime as a way of getting um, like things that you know you're going to need, I would say just bring a lot of these things. Like, for example, clothes, like make sure you have the clothes that you need, or clothes for your kids, or toys for your kids, or books for your kids. Then you can buy those in advance and bring them with you when you move. Okay, so that's something that you'll have to do the research about. Okay, what is something that we don't find at the destination? For example, certain shoes. I have a big size shoe. Okay, so I know for sure that I would need to get all the kind of pairs that I need before I leave. I want to be able to have I don't expect to find my size there. I know because some friends of mine who are there who have the same shoe size as me are like, hey, it's really hard to find that size, right? So I'm like, okay, I can prepare and bring my shoes with me. So that's something that you can be ready for. Bed sheet, pillowcases. I think it was Mexico where I've heard that it's not the same quality, and a lot of people would recommend you bring your own sheets from the US. So that's something to take into consideration as well. What about online price comparison? That's a good question. Um, and the thing is that when it comes to Amazon Prime, like if you were to order, let's say you're in Cote d'Ivoire, you would order through Amazon France. That would be the logical thing for me to do, because then shipping is more common between France and Cote d'Ivoire than US Cote d'Ivoire, right? So certain items I would say might be more expensive because you're not ordering through regular US Amazon, right? Um, so that would be something to look into before you move if you can. Again, you cannot plan for everything, but if you have certain items that you know that you usually get through Amazon, then I would do the research beforehand and to know, okay, how much that would cost through Amazon Spain, Amazon Mexico, Amazon US, Amazon France, wherever you are planning to go. All right, so that was the first one, which was conveniences of all-in-one stores, self-checkout, 24 hours, finding everything that you need in the store, Amazon Prime. Drive-throughs. Um, Drive-throughs, I did not see any drive-throughs. There probably are. I'm going to assume that there are some drive-throughs, but I personally didn't see any. The stores like the Pizza Hut, KFC, Burger King, that are typical here, like drive-through fast food places, were in enclosed areas. Basically, they didn't have to drive through. They were like in the middle, in between buildings, or at a mall. So they didn't have to drive through thingy option, right? So it's very convenient. Again, mostly when you have kids and you're, going home from school and things like that. And that one I would say it's an easy thing, easy comfort to let go of, because then it will just push you to not eat a lot of fast food. And in the on the other hand, they have a lot of food delivery services. So you are removing the comfort of the drive-through and substituting it to the comfort of having food delivered to you. Okay, so we have food delivered to us here as well at DoorDash and all of that. But just to say that it's very popular in Cote d'Ivoire that I know. In Cote d'Ivoire, I think Cameroon as well, in Yaoundé, I think that as well. Bum. Okay. Here's another comment. I think I heard that there is an embryo of company who can do shopping for you. Don't ask me how it works. It is very neat to me. I've heard that as well. I've heard that in Senegal. Yeah, I've heard of a company that does that. That will, like, you order, and then all the packages go through them, and then they send you the package. So again, it's not going to be a 2-day thing, because they have to receive all the packages and then they have to send them to you. But it's faster than you having to order directly from Amazon and Amazon sending it to you. So there are some middlemen companies that do that, and that make it a little easier for you to order from abroad. So yeah, that's a good reminder. Thank you for that. Okay, next one is, so after the drive-through, this one is, because I'm in Texas, Tex-Mex. I mean, you get a lot of Mexican restaurants around the world, obviously, and but Tex-Mex is just different. It's just special. It's that blend of Texas food and Mexican food. So it's not authentic Mexican food. It's just an American way of making Mexican food, and I love it. It's good, right? And so that's comfort food that we're probably not going to find outside of the US, because it's more than likely going to be more of their version of Mexican food. Okay, maybe it's going to be authentic Mexican food, which is even better, or their own fusion, their own version of Mexican food. And why not? I'm going to miss it, but I'm open and willing to try a new way of eating Mexican food. So that's also an exciting new way of doing things. Okay. This one, this one is the next one is running water. Running water and power, electricity. So I'm not going to generalize, because each country has its own issues. And even each neighborhood, each area of even each city would have its own reality. So when I went to Abidjan, I didn't experience any water cuts. I experienced one power cut once, but it was so early in the morning that I didn't notice. I was still in bed. So I just noticed that the AC went off, because it's just electricity powered. And but I just fell back asleep. So, and it didn't last. I don't know how long it lasted. That's the thing. Maybe when I woke back up, it was already back up. So it was benign. Okay. And in the 10 days that I was there, that was the only time. So I would say I didn't really experience any power cuts or anything like that. Now, depending on the neighborhood you stay in, right? So looking at your destination, looking at where you stay, in which neighborhood, if they have load shedding, if they have power cuts, if they have anything like that, it might depend on the area you're staying. So you would have to do your research and look at what other people are saying about that area. And one other thing that I realized, that when we're asking certain people about how life is like at the destination, sometimes when I realize, and I have to be very careful with that, is that if you're asking somebody who's lived there for so long, things that are normal to them that they take for granted, they might not even remember to tell you, oh, by the way, there's this that will be different. There's this, like, pay attention to this, pay attention to that. Because for them, it's just second nature. It's like they don't even pay attention to it. But if you're asking to an expat or a foreigner, then those are the things that they might pay attention to and remember and tell you, hey, there's no hot water, for example. Yes, there's running water, but maybe uh, somebody who's from there might not pay attention to the fact that it's not hot water coming out of the tap, but it's still running water. So they'll say, oh, there's no water problems. But a foreigner might tell you, oh yeah, there's water problems because it's not hot. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know who you're asking for these questions. Somebody who lives there, who's lived there for so long, but also people who are still a little detached and you're still aware of the differences between their hometown, their home city, their home country, and the place where they moved to. All right. So that's just parenthesis. But yeah, running water. I'm not. I was gonna say I'm not willing to let go of that. It's like not like I have, not like I have I have a solution. If you have like a borehole in the house in the compound, that's something that helps. Or just move into an area where there's no water cuts. But you have to do the research and you have to know that in advance. Okay, so when you're visiting the area, if you stay at a hotel, there's not gonna be any water cuts, obviously. But if you stay at an Airbnb or somebody's house, then yes, you can have a more realistic experience of, the daily challenges like running water and electricity. So same thing with electricity is just, okay, what can you have? Generator. That will help. Okay, so that can be a temporary solution to that problem. Now, if you're working online, how can you adapt to that environment, to the fact that water can just go away at any time if you're in an area where they don't tell you in advance? So, depending on the country you go to, sometimes you're lucky and they tell you, hey, today you're not going to have electricity. It's your turn, right? And the next day, it's your turn to have power, right? So, if it's organized in that way, then you can prepare yourself and all of that, charge all your equipment and things like that. But in a lot of cases, they don't even tell you. Okay, so you have to be aware of these things and see if that's something that you can deal with. All right, and be prepared for it. So having a generator, solar as well, that can help as well for you to charge all your electronics and all of that. All right, so that was the next one. I don't know how many I have, but that's the next one. Another thing that very, very important, and that is it will depend on where you go, but it's very cultural. It's customer service or lack thereof. Lack of customer service. In the US, we really strive and respect the whole customer is king thing. Okay, that's the principle. And there is an official, efficient way of protecting customers and also an efficient way for customers to be able to complain if something happens. So the customer is protected, but also if anything, you can, there's a chain that, if you want to escalate the whole problem, right? You can talk to the manager can talk to somebody else. So there's an official way for you to complain about a problem. But in a lot of other places, it's not the case. The customer is not necessarily king, right? And that doesn't even, I'm not even necessarily thinking about Africa, but even in France, France is not known for its customer service. It's actually known for quote unquote bad customer service. So not in a way that from an American perspective we would expect. Okay. It's not that they're being rude, it's just that, okay, that's just not in their culture norms. That's just how they operate, right? And so sometimes you might, as a foreigner, you might expect a certain way to be treated, but it's not going to happen. Like if you go into a store, they're not going to say, hey, welcome to Ross. How are you? How can we help you? Let me know if you need any help. That's something that we take for granted here, but it's not necessarily normal in other places. Not that they are being rude, but it's just that, okay, come and do what you have to do and then you just leave, right? So customer service and customer protection as a whole as well is something comfortable and something that we're so attached to and that we value so much that we might not find in other places. And it doesn't mean that people are rude, it's just that it's not in their norms. And I'm going to give you two examples here where people were actually rude. They didn't know they were rude, but they were really, really rude. I'm going to give you an example of two things that happened to my husband, once in Cameroon and once in Cote d'Ivoire. So he went to I think it was a bar or someplace like where you can have drinks. And so he went with some friends, I think. And then there was this lady who was actually, was broad daylight. I think it was maybe like 12 o'clock, like daytime. And he wanted a drink. And the lady was on the other side of the counter and she was taking a nap. And so they kind of woke her up like, okay, there's customers here and we're trying to order something. And she was so mad. She was so mad that she like, I don't know how you say that. Like she just like basically, why are you bothering me? I'm trying to take a nap here. And so for him, he was like, he was shocked. I mean, anybody who would be shocked by this behavior. But for her, from her perspective, she felt like she needed to take a nap and that why would somebody come and bother her, even though she has an open business, right? So this is just bad customer service. That's extremely rude. I don't care where you are in the world. This is very rude. Okay, so that was one example where the lady who is supposed to be serving them drinks and taking their order, was just annoyed that they were there. Okay, if you really want to get some sleep, just close the store and that's it. Second example was in Cote d'Ivoire. So he went to Grand Bassam to get some. So he was just walking around there and everything, and he saw a lady on the side of the road who was selling oranges, and so he got some oranges from her, and they were really really good, right? So she had peeled a few oranges, like she has a big bowl of oranges piled up on top of each other, and then a few of them are already peeled, right? We all have that picture in mind. And so they were small ones, the ones that were peeled. And so he got a few and he was like, oh, these are great, they're delicious and everything. I want some more. And so she was going to give him the ones that were on top. And he's like, no, I want the ones right there. The ones that are not peeled. Like, can you peel these ones for me? Because they're a little bigger. And she was like annoyed, like, why would you ask me to do that? Take these ones are already peeled. And for him, he was shocked because it's like, aren't you gonna peel those anyways at some point today? Why are you annoyed that first of all, I want to buy, I'm ready to buy, and you have them right here and you're going to peel them at some point. Why are you annoyed that I'm asking you to peel them right now? I'm picking the ones that I want. And so again, very bad customer service. And for him, it was like, I mean, I'm trying to buy something from you, so why are you behaving like that, right? So those were just two examples of bad customer service. Again, it doesn't represent the country as a whole or anything like that, but it's sometimes just normal cultural norms that we might not understand. But at the same time, I think that if you're in business to, take somebody's order, you should be ready to do that. Okay. Ooh, look at this question. What about 911 and other emergency service? I have a lot of stories. I think I need to bring my husband on at some point because he has a lot of funny. It's so ridiculous that it's funny at this point. Stories about that exactly. Emergency services in Cameroon. You wouldn't. I sometimes don't believe. I don't believe it, but he says it, and then it's confirmed by other people, by his siblings and all of that. So I'm like, how can people live like that? But yeah, I'll have to bring him to talk about that at some point. Because if you're calling the fire department, and a lot of places, the fire department doesn't have water. That's that. So if you have a fire, it's you and your neighbors help each other out. help each other out. Okay. Again, it's not everywhere, but in some cases, that's that. In some cases, when it comes to the police, they don't have how do you call that, gas in their cars or in their motorcycles. So they're not going to chase you. They're not going to chase you. Okay. Again, those are just specific examples. It's not to generalize across the continent, of course. Um, but obviously there's a service for 911, for the fire station and everything. But in a lot of cases, you would have to take charge of certain things first before, instead of waiting for the cops to come or for the fire department to come. You'll have to take things into your own hands. Like if you have a fire, you better take that hose and start doing what you can do instead of waiting for the fire department to come. Okay. Um, that's just the reality of how those services work in some in some areas of the world. It's just not as efficient as it is here. Like here, if you call 911, they'll send the ambulance, they'll send the police, they'll send the fire department. Everybody's coming, right? And within respectable amount of time, right? Depending on where you live, you can expect them to come ready to do what they have to do. But it's not the case in a lot of areas. So what do you do about it? Is that a deal breaker? Not for me, because what can you do in that case? Well, you make sure that you always have enough gas in your car. That way, if there's an emergency, you can drive yourself to the nearest hospital. That's the alternative. Okay, you're not going to wait on the ambulance. You are your own ambulance, and you go and do what you have to do. You go and take the thing to the how do you say commissariat, to the police station. All right. So you have to take things into your own hands at some for certain things. All right. So that was, what was that one? That was customer service, and then we talked about police and emergency services. Ooh, another one. Customer service, yes. Fast service. This one was really, really annoying. But yeah, I mean, because the service industry is so structured here, and the whole customer service, there are some norms, and some stores or restaurants will brag about, if you're not getting your food on your table within, let's say, 10 minutes, then you have the right to get your money back, for example, or you have the right to something, to complain. And one thing that I realized, and I had to take that into, I had to look at that through a different angle. So we went to a very famous restaurant in Abidjan. It's on Instagram and everything. Everybody goes there, right? So I wanted to go there. I went there with my friends. I was so excited. And then we ordered the food, and then I'm telling you, it took forever to get the food. I was so annoyed. But the thing is that I was the only one who was annoyed, because for my friend, it was normal. Okay. So I had to check myself and say, okay, I don't have to expect the food to be like, because it's not preheated, it's not pre-cooked, it's cooked from scratch, and food that is cooked from scratch takes time. Okay, so I cannot expect good food to come like this, and then me eating it in like 15 minutes and then be out. That defeats the purpose of being in that environment where we converse, we have drinks, we wait for the food, we eat the food, we eat some more, we talk some more, we take our time to actually have that whole dinner experience. Whereas here in the US, it's more of a, we get the food, we eat, and we out. Okay, we don't really enjoy the process of dining with family, with friends, and all of that, right? And so they will not bring you the bill until you ask for the bill. All right. That's also something very European as well. Until you're ready, until you're ready. We're not going to rush you out. But here it's funny because even when you're still eating, they'll bring the bill and they're like, okay, whenever you're ready. Basically, they're kicking you out, right? It's like pressure. You need to leave the table because other people are coming. All right. So in a way, fast service, sure, but you can adapt to a new way of, dining and enjoying food and enjoying uh, being in good company. Okay, so that's how I personally see it. That it's not that it's going to be a problem, but I will just have to adapt and see it through a different lens. So, what do you guys think of that? That's my own take on it when it comes to fast service. All right, another one. This one is more for if you have kids, small kids. There's a lot of green space in Abidjan. I've seen a lot of green space, like forest type thing. But one thing that I did not see at all, and we drove around a lot, stayed in a lot of residential areas, I did not see public playgrounds for kids. I did not see that. There were a lot of, play areas like how do you call those? Like, where you pay to go in somewhere and then kids just go and have a good time. Right. So something that you have to pay for. But like a public playground in the neighborhood, I didn't see any of that. And so that's a comfort that, I mean, you just walk 2 blocks and you have a park in every neighborhood, most neighborhoods, right? At least the kids can go somewhere and go on the playground on swings, slides, and have fun. But that's not something that I saw. Okay, so public playgrounds in residential neighborhoods, unless it's a gated community, and then okay, it's just the residents of that community that can enjoy it. But again, I wasn't able to see it because it was gated. But just public playgrounds where anybody can go, I didn't see that. All right, and that's a comfort that um, it's going to be a little difficult, but at the same time, I'm willing to let go of it. Okay. So how can you combat that? What is the alternative? Well, if you live in a house, then having a set of swing and slide in your own backyard, that's one way of doing it. Okay. Um, Talking about backyards, I felt like there's not a lot of green space in the backyards. There's a lot of tile or how you call it, concrete in the backyard, but not a lot of green. And if somebody knows why, let me know. Is it because it takes a lot of water to upkeep? Just let me know because I haven't asked my friend the question, but I probably should have. Why is that a lot of the houses don't have a lot of green area in the backyard? I'm really curious about it. And so that's something that we have here. Like if you have a house, you have green space in the backyard. Even if you have a pool, you have green space for the kids to run around. Okay. And that's something that I didn't see a lot of. Okay. I think I have two more. One is family size items at the store. A lot of the things outside of the US, because we do everything big in the US for some reason, is like the portions are big in the US. And sometimes it helps you save money. Like if you go to Costco and you get a big size cereal, for example, big box of Cheerios, uh, it saves you money instead of buying a smaller size at Walmart or at HEB, wherever you go, right? And so um, most sizes that I saw at the store were smaller sizes, right? And so when you have a big family of 6 like we do, it's not convenient. Okay, so the comfort of having big sizes of things, like whether it's cereal or even if it's shower body wash, right? I want the big bottle because I don't want to have to go to the store every 5 days to get new body wash, right? So big sizes for certain items, I wasn't able to find those unless they only are at the equivalent of a Costco store. That could be it. But I didn't go to a store like that. So, but just at a regular store, like a regular supermarket, that could be the equivalent of a Walmart or an HEB. I felt like the sizes were a little small. And again, those are more of European sizes, which are smaller than American sizes. And that's a comfort that you'll have to let go of because outside of the US, sizes are a lot smaller. And so it's not super convenient for a big family. If it's just you or two, three of you, then it's no big deal. But for a big family, it's a big deal. All right. So what else? What else? What else? I think the that talked about that, the drive-through, unlimited data. I guess I don't know because we don't really well, we have unlimited data here, but it's they say unlimited, but it's not really unlimited data. So that one doesn't really count. I think that's pretty much it. What I have, I put sidewalks there because in a lot of African cities you have like open gutter where you might not have the sidewalk, so you walk on the street on the I mean yeah you walk on the street on the road, and then there's the open gutter, not and it's somewhat clean. It's not like it's just like sewage or anything like that, but it's open gutter, and then there's the house or the building or something like that. So you have to be very careful on where you walk, okay? But the convenience of having just a clean sidewalk, like road, sidewalk, business, road, sidewalk, residence. Like just okay, where you're walking, you have a clear separation of things, and it's not like, oh, it's an open gutter thing, and okay, watch out because you might fall in it or something like that. Okay, so I think that I think it's called visual pollution or something like that. Like when you have signs put up, like for example, when you go into, I would say, middle class, like lower class or poor neighborhood. Let's say if you go to poor neighborhoods here in the US, you will see a lot of the signs are all over the place. Like you have the cables, power cables, and you have the big McDonald's sign, and you have discount tire. Everything is like up all over the place, right? Because I think it's called visual pollution. I don't remember the thing, or environmental pollution, but if you go into rich neighborhoods, everything is on a concrete from the floor. You have the Chick-fil-A, McDonald's sign. It's not all the way up in the air because visual, it's aesthetically, visually pleasing, basically, right? And so in a lot of other cities, you don't have that. It's like a little bit of of randomness in how things are built, because you would have an old random, um, not a gas station, but like a shop, where you wash cars, like a car wash, and then a fancy restaurant, and next to it is some random thing with some trash on the floor, and it's not very consistent. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like we would go to a very fancy bakery like Kaiser, but around it is like there's a lot of trash around it. And I'm like, that's odd, right? But as long as you're good, as long as your establishment is good and clean, and there's a clean entrance to your door and everything, whatever's on the side to it doesn't have it's not necessarily consistent. And I found that a little odd. But it doesn't make me uncomfortable per se, just like the other things that I've mentioned. But I just find it a little odd for some reason. Okay. Yeah, saying, hey, there is a store. Let me click on this one. Oops. Here we go. There's a store called Cosmos in Yopougon that has bigger size items like Costco. There you go. I knew it. Thank you so much. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I knew that there has to be. There has to be. I didn't get a chance to go see it, but that's where big families would shop, and I think that's great that it's there, that it exists. I'm really happy to hear that. So yeah, again, so there you go. There's a solution to that discomfort. Thank you for that. All right. So any questions, guys? What are the things that would really, the comfort that you're like, you know what? I think I'm I'm okay letting this go. Online banking, that's a good one. Online banking, right? You just go on the app, Face ID, and you can do pretty much anything. You don't have to go to the bank. I don't remember the last time I went to the bank for anything. I opened an account from my phone, did everything from my phone. That's super convenient. I don't have to go and stand in line. Just calling AT&T for anything. I don't have to go into AT&T's store. All of that is so convenient, right? Yeah, saying African civil engineers suck with design their cities. It's so funny. I don't understand that. I don't understand that logic. You know, zoning laws or zoning rules or anything like that. It's just there's a lot of randomness. It's like car wash next to a bakery, like high end bakery next to a abandoned lot with chickens. And it's just odd. Not all areas are like that, obviously, but some areas just feel a little odd that there's not a lot of zoning done. And you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's definitely not a deal breaker. None of the discomforts that I shared today were deal breakers. None. Even the important one like safety and you know, emergency services is not a deal breaker because there's a way to make it work. You just have to drive yourself. That's it. You just have to have friends being your emergency contact so they can watch the kids while you go to the hospital or they can take you to the hospital, whatever the case. Okay. So for all of these comforts that we have here and that we are all willing, I think we're all willing to let go of, we'll find ways to adapt. We'll find ways to make it work. We'll find new things over there that might even work better. And that we're like, you know what? This whole drive-through thing, I'd rather just walk into the store. Why not? Instead of just staying in my car and then spilling my Coke on myself. You know, we might just look at it a different way and really appreciate the differences. And in a lot of these, when I was putting together this list, there were things that I thought were comforts here that I wouldn't have in Abidjan or in Yaoundé, but you can definitely find them there, like food delivery, going to the movies. Same movies that come out here, they come out at the same time over there. So, not a problem at all. Okay. There are certain things that you might think you're going to not have or you're going to miss, but there's a version of that over there at your destination. Okay. So, you just have to do the research. And for Costco, there's a Cosmos, right? So same thing. For Uber, there's Yango and Uber as well. All right. So there are alternatives available, and you just have to make it work. Have to make it work and adapt. All right. Any questions you guys have? Any questions? Let me make sure that I've covered everything. I think I have everything. Oh, Yelp. I put Yelp as well as a place where you can go to to post reviews about certain businesses. And again, this is the whole customer service process, customer protection, where you can review businesses instead of just ranting on Facebook groups, because a lot of people do that and just like, oh, I've had this experience with this hairdresser, this, and it was horrible. Okay, but they post that in like expat groups. Sure, but is there like a Yelp available where the whole public can see and rate that establishment? That's that way other people don't make the same mistake. You know, I don't know if it's available, but that's something that I will miss if it's not available. Not a deal breaker, but it's definitely something I will miss. Okay. Yes, saying yes, call Yango to take you to the hospital. It will be faster. Look at that. Who knew? Who knew? I mean, even here, I think, I'm not sure, but I think my brother and his wife took an Uber to go to the hospital when she had to deliver their baby, and they live in Chicago. Not that it was just more convenient than driving their own car because it's Chicago. All right, so why not? Hey, that works too. Okay, you wouldn't do that in Texas, but in Chicago, that would work. All right. All right. So anything that you guys would miss, let me know in the comments, even after this live. Let me know. In other news, I have um, created my mini course. It's a mini course on how to start your online business. I have posted a cheat sheet to show you the step by step of what to do in the next 5 weeks. If you want to launch a business in the next 30 days, so that's about 5 weeks, telling you everything you need to do every single week: market research, beta offer, delivering the beta, feedback review, and then official launch. Okay. So I've given you a free cheat sheet of it. It's available in the community tab. It's on my social media as well. So you can go and check it out. It's right there. If you have any questions about it, let me know. And right now, as we speak, I am also editing the course that goes with it, where I go into more details. And I should be able to have that up and running by the end of the day today. So if you want to get access to that course, where I walk you through the process of these steps. So week one, this is what you're going to do, even if you don't have a business idea. If you don't know what to do, I talk about that in the course. Okay. Um, how to validate your business idea to make sure that it's something that people want. All that process within 30 days with no money down. Like you don't have to pay for anything. How to do that for free, and then launch that business in 30 days. Okay. So the course is available. It's going to be available tonight, depending on how fast, how fast the upload is and everything, and how fast I can finish the edit. And so you can have access to that. I'm really excited because it's a new month, September, and there's only 4 months left of the year. And if starting an online business is a way for you to not only fund your move abroad, but also sustain your lifestyle while you're abroad, wherever you choose to go, then my recommendation will always be an online business, always. Not just any business, but an online service-based business. Okay. Not just any online business, but a service-based business. Okay. That is focused on the things you know, the things you've experienced, and how you can package that and offer it to people. Alrighty. Any questions about that? Just let me know. Comment, send me a DM on Instagram. Other than that, I wish you guys a fantastic evening wherever you're joining me from. Fantastic week. And thank you for joining me today. That was fun. That was really fun. I think I'm going to do lives every Sundays. Um, I think it's a good time, Sunday afternoon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a great evening, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.